Today we explore the tragic story of Claire Herskowitz, a devoted wife whose revelation of her husband's dark secret led to her untimely death. This is a tale of concealed lives, betrayal, and murder. Claire Herskowitz, a 40-year-old from Boca Raton, Florida, was a stay-at-home mom and part-time internet marketer. She was well regarded for her vibrant personality and deep dedication to her family. Claire was married to David, a 45-year-old, and they had two children, Greed, 12 and Block 9. Claire was deeply connected with her family and friends and had established a successful career from home, assisting small businesses with their online presence. Her work was recognized in local business websites and the Boca Raton Tribune. Claire's husband, David, ran a fishing tour company and appeared to be a devoted husband and father. However, as the story unfolds, it becomes clear that David had many hidden secrets. Claire was deeply involved in her community. She volunteered at Greed and Block School, Pinecrest School, and played an active role in the PTA, helping to organize school events and fundraisers. Claire also had a passion for baking, frequently bringing cookies and cakes to school events and community gatherings. In the days leading up to her death, she was excitedly planning a family vacation to Disney World, eager to spend quality time with her loved ones. Claire also aspired to grow her internet marketing business. She was working on an exciting new project for a local restaurant and was enthusiastic about the opportunities it could bring. To many, her life appeared perfect. Claire had a loving family, a successful career, and was well regarded in her community. But in March 2016, her life took a devastating turn when she uncovered a dark secret about her husband's double life. This revelation would lead to her tragic and untimely death. On the morning of March 18, 2016, around 8 a.m., Mark Stevens, Claire Herskowitz's next-door neighbor's boar, noticed something unusual. Mark, a retired police officer, was on his regular morning walk when he saw that Claire's garage door was partially open. This was out of character for Claire, who was known for being meticulous and cautious. Concerned, Mark walked over to the garage and noticed a disturbing sight: a pool of blood on the floor. His heart raced as he looked inside, trying to understand what had happened. There, on the cold concrete, lay Claire, motionless and covered in blood. Mark's instincts from his police training kicked in. He immediately called 911 and stayed at the scene to provide crucial information to the authorities. He quickly assessed the scene, noting the tire iron near Claire's body, which seemed to be the murder weapon. Mark called 911, his voice calm but urgent, and then waited outside the garage to preserve the scene, keeping a vigilant watch until the authorities arrived. The Boca Raton Police Department arrived quickly, their sirens wailing in the quiet neighborhood. The garage was a grisly scene, with blood smeared across the floor and walls, indicating a fierce struggle. Claire's body displayed severe injuries, indicating a violent struggle with her attacker. Detectives meticulously documented the scene, capturing photographs and gathering evidence. They carefully noted the placement of the tire iron and collected DNA samples for analysis. As the detectives continued their work, neighbors gathered outside, whispering in shock and disbelief. The news of Claire's death quickly spread through the community, leaving everyone stunned. The detectives interviewed Mark Stevens, who recounted his discovery of Claire's body and his immediate actions. Mark's calm and detailed account helped establish the initial timeline of the crime. Meanwhile, inside the house, Claire's children remained asleep, unaware of the tragedy outside. The detectives ensured the children were taken to a safe location and arranged for them to stay with family members. When detectives Sarah Pallett and Yandy Ruse arrived at the scene around 8:15 a.m., on March 18, 2016, they were met with a community in shock and a crime scene that demanded immediate attention. The detectives quickly began their work, assessing the area and collecting evidence. Detective Pallett, recognized for her keen eye for detail, and Detective Ruse, known for his intuitive approach, were both committed to solving the case quickly. The garage, where Claire Herskowitz was discovered, presented a horrific scene. Blood splatters adorned the walls and floor, signaling the ferocity of the struggle that had taken place. Claire had been killed with a tire iron, which lay bloodied nearby. The scene indicated a violent and sudden assault, and the absence of signs of forced entry suggested the attacker was someone Claire knew. The detectives prioritized securing the area to prevent any contamination of the crime scene. The detectives documented the scene with photographs and detailed notes. Forensic specialists collected evidence such as the tire iron, fingerprints, and DNA samples. They also swabbed various surfaces to find any additional traces of the attacker. Detective Pallett observed the disarray in the garage: scattered papers, a spilled toolbox, and a broken family photo. These details illustrated the violent struggle Claire had faced. They also found Claire's cell phone, hoping it would offer additional insights into her final moments. Inside the house, the detectives looked for further evidence or signs of forced entry, but found nothing. This suggested that Claire's attacker was someone she knew and let into the home. Detectives Pallett and Ruiz interviewed neighbors, including Mark Stevens, who had found the body. Mark detailed his morning routine and how he came across the scene. His composed manner and clear recollection provided crucial insights for the investigation. The detectives spoke with Claire's children, Greed and Block, in a compassionate way to ensure they felt safe. They were then taken to stay with relatives. Next, the detectives contacted David Herskowitz, Claire's husband, who was at his office, to inform him of the tragic news. David's calm reaction was unusual and raised some initial concerns. Detectives Pallett and Ruiz then reviewed security footage from nearby homes, looking for any signs of suspicious activity or individuals around the time of the murder. Detectives Pallett and Ruiz also planned to review Claire's phone records and social media for any unusual interactions or threats. Throughout the day, they stayed focused on the case, understanding the importance of solving Claire Herskowitz's murder for her grieving family and the shocked Boca Raton community. David Herskowitz, aged 45, was the first suspect in Claire Herskowitz's murder. He owned a fishing tour company in Boca Raton and was initially cooperative with the police. However, his calm demeanor and the discovery of his secret life raised suspicions. To those who knew him, David Herskowitz appeared to be a devoted husband and father. He was meticulous and introverted, keeping his personal life private. However, as detectives investigated further, they uncovered that David had been concealing significant aspects of his life. David was involved in an affair and was also grappling with severe financial issues. Despite the appearance of a thriving fishing tour company, it was actually struggling, with David having taken out numerous loans and accumulating substantial debt. The detectives brought David in for questioning later that day. He appeared calm but detached, which added to their suspicions. As they interrogated him, David's composed exterior made it difficult to gauge his true emotions or involvement in Claire's death. David denied any involvement in Claire's death, stating he was at his office during the murder. His calm demeanor seemed out of place given the brutality of the crime and his loss. The detectives found his alibi weak and his reactions suspicious. David claimed he was alone at his office, working on paperwork, but lacked solid evidence to support his whereabouts. Detectives Pallett and Ruiz questioned him about his affair and financial troubles, exploring whether these issues could have contributed to Claire's murder. David acknowledged the affair but firmly denied any connection to Claire's murder. He grew agitated when discussing his financial difficulties, but continued to assert his innocence. Detectives Pallett and Ruiz reviewed David's phone records and emails, searching for any evidence that might link him to the crime. The detectives discovered numerous calls and messages between David and his mistress, Jennifer Green, who was also Claire's best friend. This revelation deepened the investigation, raising questions about David's motives. Interviews with neighbors and friends revealed their shock at David's hidden life, adding complexity to the case. David was described by neighbors as quiet and reserved, a stark contrast to Claire's lively personality. Some had noticed David acting nervously in the weeks leading up to the murder, which raised further suspicions. Detectives knew they needed more evidence to either confirm or dismiss David's involvement in the crime. Detectives continued to scrutinize David's financial records, searching for any connections to the crime. They also planned to interview Jennifer Green to explore any additional information she might have about David's involvement in Claire's murder. As the investigation advanced, David remained a central suspect. Jennifer Green had been close to Claire for years, and they worked together on various projects. Jennifer's competitive nature often led to tension between her and Claire, especially in their professional endeavors. The detectives were eager to investigate Jennifer's role in the case, given her close relationship with both Claire and David. Jennifer Green, known for her competitive nature and ambition, had been Claire's close friend and colleague. They collaborated on several internet marketing projects, sharing both professional and personal details. Unbeknownst to Claire, Jennifer was involved in an affair with Claire's husband, David Herskowitz. This betrayal placed Jennifer under intense scrutiny as the investigation unfolded. On March 19, 2016, detectives Pallet and Ruiz brought Jennifer Green in for questioning. Jennifer, who had been close to Claire, was visibly distressed but cooperative. The detectives sought to understand her involvement, especially in light of the affair with David Herskowitz. Jennifer's connection to Claire and her relationship with David made her a key figure in the investigation. Jennifer admitted to the affair with David but insisted she had no involvement in Claire's murder. She portrayed her relationship with Claire as supportive, though she admitted there had been tension, particularly around discussions of their marriages. Despite her cooperation, the detectives remained cautious, aware that her affair with David and the tensions in their relationship needed to be thoroughly examined. Jennifer's motive might have included several factors. The affair with David was a significant breach of trust, and if Claire had found out, it could have led to severe conflict. Furthermore, Jennifer's competitive nature and ambition might have fueled jealousy and resentment towards Claire, intensifying potential motives. During the interrogation, Jennifer was defensive yet measured. She answered the detectives' questions carefully and even mentioned that David had promised her he was planning to leave Claire soon, suggesting their relationship would become official. Detectives Pallet and Ruiz examined Jennifer's phone records and emails, uncovering numerous messages between her and David. These communications detailed both their personal relationship and their professional interactions. This evidence suggested a deep connection, but did not directly link Jennifer to the crime. The interviews with Jennifer's friends and colleagues revealed their shock at her involvement with David. They described her as ambitious and career-focused, but none had suspected she was having an affair with Claire's husband. The revelations added complexity to the investigation, suggesting that Jennifer's motivations could be both personal and professional. The detectives recognized that Jennifer's affair with David was a crucial piece of the puzzle, but it alone didn't prove her involvement in Claire's murder. They continued to collect and analyze evidence, seeking any additional connections or inconsistencies that could shed light on her potential role in the crime. The breakthrough came when a local resident, Patricia Lang, reported a suspicious sighting. Patricia had noticed a vehicle parked near the Herskowitz home on the morning of March 18, 2016. She described the car and provided a partial license plate number. This information led the detectives to investigate further, hoping it might connect to either David or Jennifer. The forensic analysis revealed a series of alarming messages and calls between Claire and an unknown number, which had increased in frequency leading up to her death. The messages hinted at someone threatening Claire, making her feel unsafe. This evidence shifted the focus of the investigation, suggesting that Claire may have had reasons to fear for her safety before her tragic demise. Detective Pallet quickly shared this information with Detective Ruiz, emphasizing the importance of identifying the sender of those messages. The recovered messages revealed that Claire had uncovered David's involvement in illegal gambling and sex trafficking. She had been communicating with an anonymous source who warned her about these activities. The texts indicated that Claire was gathering evidence to expose David's crimes, which likely put her in grave danger. This new revelation drastically altered the direction of the investigation, suggesting that Claire's murder could be linked to her attempts to unveil David's illicit operations. David's fishing tour company served as a front for his illegal activities, including a high-stakes gambling operation and a sex trafficking ring. He used a yacht as a mobile casino and brothel, where wealthy clients could engage in gambling and have access to young men and women who were promised jobs as fashion models but were exploited instead. Claire had discovered these criminal operations and intended to report them to the authorities. Her plan to expose David's illegal activities provided a clear motive for her murder, as David had a vested interest in silencing her to protect his criminal empire. Detectives Pallet and Ruiz understood the gravity of the new evidence. They convened a team meeting to review the details of the recovered messages, which revealed Claire's deep distress over David's criminal operations and her resolve to report him. The texts not only underscored her motive for seeking justice, but also suggested that David had a strong incentive to silence her. This revelation shifted the focus of the investigation, highlighting David Herskowitz as a central figure in the case. The new evidence provided a compelling motive for David. The detectives meticulously reviewed the messages, noting the dates and times. It became clear that Claire had uncovered David's illegal activities just days before her murder, intensifying the urgency of her threat to expose him. This crucial piece of information linked David directly to Claire's death and prompted the detectives to re-examine his involvement with renewed focus. The messages also mentioned a woman named Olga Vereskova, which further complicated the case. Olga appeared to be connected to David's illegal operations, possibly involved in the gambling and sex trafficking activities. Detectives Pallet and Ruse recognized that Olga could provide additional insights into David's criminal activities and his potential motive for murder. They decided to investigate Olga's background and her relationship with David to understand her role in the broader scheme. Claire had been in touch with Olga, who came all the way from Chelyabinsk, Russia, to confront David about her missing daughter, Anastasia. Anastasia had been tricked into coming to the U.S. with promises of a modeling job, only to end up caught in David's trafficking ring. The police stepped up their investigation, focusing on David's financial records and communications to uncover more about his illegal activities. The detectives aimed to find more evidence linking David to both the trafficking ring and Claire's murder. They contacted federal agencies for help, recognizing that the case had grown beyond a local investigation. With the new evidence shedding light on David's secret life and illegal activities, the detectives had a clearer understanding of the motive behind Claire's murder. They stayed focused, knowing that uncovering the full extent of David's operations was crucial for solving the case and delivering justice for Claire's family. The third suspect in the investigation was Olga Vereskova, a 61-year-old woman who had traveled from Chelyabinsk, Russia, in search of her missing daughter, Anastasia. Anastasia, just 18, had come to America under the false promise of a modeling career. On March 22, 2016, detectives Sarah Pallet and Yandy Ruse questioned Olga Vereskova. She was clearly distressed but resolute in her quest for justice for her daughter, Anastasia, who had become a victim in David Herskowitz's illegal operation. Olga, speaking through a translator, explained that Anastasia had vanished soon after arriving in the U.S. Despite her efforts in hiring private investigators, all evidence led back to David Herskowitz. She described Anastasia as a bright, ambitious young woman with big dreams. Anastasia was thrilled about her modeling career and eager to start a new life in America. When she suddenly stopped communicating, Olga realized something was gravely wrong. Her determination to uncover the truth drove her to sell everything she had and travel to Florida to confront David directly. During the interrogation, Olga was emotional but remained composed. She recounted meeting Claire Herskowitz in the days before Claire's murder. Claire had been sympathetic and had promised to help Olga expose David's illegal operations. This meeting had taken place just 2 days before Claire's death, making Olga a crucial witness. Her motive for confronting David was evident. She was desperate for answers about her daughter's disappearance and was determined to uncover the truth. Despite her emotional state and detailed account of her search for Anastasia, the detectives found no evidence connecting Olga to Claire's murder. She appeared more as a grieving mother than a suspect. The focus remained on gathering more information about David's operations and uncovering any additional evidence. Olga provided the detectives with documents and records she had gathered on David's illegal activities, hoping to use them to pressure him into revealing Anastasia's whereabouts. This evidence was crucial for the investigation. Friends and acquaintances of Olga in Russia described her as a determined and loving mother, further validating her commitment to finding her daughter. Olga's relentless pursuit of her daughter and her exhaustive efforts to find her underscored her commitment. Her journey to America was driven by a desperate hope to uncover the truth. The documents she provided, along with her testimony, gave detectives Pallet and Ruiz additional evidence linking David to both the trafficking operation and Claire's murder. David's involvement underscored the international dimension of his crimes and their widespread impact. Throughout the investigation, Olga played a key role. Her relentless quest for justice for her daughter and her cooperation with the detectives were pivotal in revealing the full scope of David's criminal activities. On March 24, 2016, the Boca Raton Police Department identified David Herskowitz as the murderer of Claire Herskowitz. David, 45, ran a fishing tour company, but beneath this facade, he was involved in illegal gambling and sex trafficking. His seemingly perfect life concealed a dark and dangerous reality. David's motive for murdering Claire was clear. She had uncovered his secret life and intended to report him to the authorities. Fearing that his personal and professional world would crumble, David chose to silence her permanently. The police had collected sufficient evidence to arrest David, including his phone records, financial documents, and the deleted text messages between him and Claire. At 10 a.m., on March 24, 2016, Detectives Sarah Pallett and Yandy Ruse arrived at David's office. The mood was charged with anticipation as they approached. David was in a meeting discussing his business plans when the detectives entered. They calmly informed him of his arrest. His reaction was a blend of shock and resignation. David didn't put up a fight but insisted he was being set up. The detectives put him in handcuffs and read him his rights before taking him outside. A crowd of onlookers and reporters had already gathered to witness the arrest. The news of David's arrest quickly spread, leaving the community in shock. Claire's family was heartbroken but found some solace in knowing the police had identified her killer. Boca Raton came together to grieve the loss of a cherished mother and friend. The investigation deepened as the police gathered more evidence against David. They uncovered additional details about his involvement in gambling and sex trafficking, strengthening their case. The evidence revealed a man who, in his desperation to protect his hidden life, was willing to commit murder to keep his secrets concealed. David's arrest marked a crucial step towards justice for Claire. It also gave hope to Olga Vereskova, who was still searching for answers about her daughter Anastasia. The police assured Olga they would keep investigating David's criminal network to uncover more victims and seek justice for them as well. As David was driven away in a police car, the people of Boca Raton hoped for a quick and just trial. Claire's murder had deeply affected the community, but her bravery in revealing David's crimes served as an inspiration. The detectives were dedicated to seeing the case through, determined to honor Claire's memory by making sure her killer received the full measure of justice. The trial drew significant attention due to the shocking nature of David's crimes. Karen Whitfield presented a compelling case detailing David's illegal operations and the evidence linking him to Claire's murder. The prosecution's goal was to demonstrate the full extent of David's criminal activities and his motive for silencing Claire. Karen Whitfield's presentation to the jury was methodical and thorough. She highlighted the key evidence, including the deleted text messages that revealed Claire's discovery of David's criminal activities. She detailed David's financial struggles, which added motive to his desperation. Witnesses, including Claire's family and friends, testified to her character and her efforts to uncover the truth. Karen argued that David's fear of exposure drove him to murder Claire, presenting a clear and compelling case to the jury. Defense attorney Richard Palmer, 45, took a measured approach to the trial. Known for his analytical skills and composed demeanor, Richard argued that David Herskowitz was the victim of a frame-up. He contended that the evidence against David was circumstantial and questioned the reliability of the text messages. Richard proposed that other individuals involved in David's illegal operations had stronger motives to kill Claire, aiming to redirect the jury's attention away from David. Throughout the trial, Claire's family remained present, their sorrow and resolve evident. Michelle, Claire's sister, frequently wiped away tears as she heard about the harrowing details of Claire's final days and the violence of her murder. Their constant presence underscored their quest for justice and their need for closure. The trial spanned 3 weeks, during which both sides made strong arguments. Ultimately, the prosecution's evidence proved overwhelming. On August 24, 2017, the jury returned with a unanimous verdict. David Herskowitz was convicted of first-degree murder, illegal gambling, and sex trafficking. At the sentencing hearing, the judge strongly condemned his actions and sentenced him to life in prison without the possibility of parole. The courtroom's atmosphere was a mix of relief and profound sadness. Claire's family found some solace in knowing David would spend the rest of his life in prison, though the grief of losing Claire endured. The verdict resonated deeply with the Boca Raton community, providing a sense of justice and closure for many. The case revealed the hidden dangers that can lurk even in peaceful communities, underscoring the need for vigilance and collective support. While Claire's friends and family faced the end of a harrowing ordeal, the trial served as a stark reminder of the importance of staying alert to such threats. The community found comfort in knowing that Claire's bravery had led to justice. They united in support, honoring Claire as a dedicated mother, wife, and friend who fought for the truth. The trial of David Herskowitz became a poignant reminder of the strength found in facing hidden dangers and the importance of standing together. Claire's legacy of bravery and justice inspired many. Following David Herskowitz's sentencing on August 24, 2017, The lives of those affected by the case continued to evolve. The trial had provided closure, but its effects lingered, shaping the future of everyone involved. Claire Herskowitz's family found support through local counseling services and community groups, which helped them cope with their loss. The Boca Raton community rallied around them, organizing fundraisers and memorials to honor Claire. Greed and Block were cared for by their extended family, ensuring they had a stable and supportive environment. Greed and Block continued their education at Calusa Elementary, where teachers and counselors offered additional support to help them cope with their mother's death. Although the children faced challenges, therapy and their supportive relatives helped them adjust. Meanwhile, Olga Vereskova, who had come from Russia to find her daughter Anastasia, found some solace in David's conviction, though her search for her daughter continued. Despite not yet finding Anastasia, Olga Vereskova persisted in her efforts to combat human trafficking. She partnered with organizations like the Polaris Project and engaged in speaking events to highlight the issue. Her advocacy raised awareness, supported other families affected by trafficking, and contributed to broader efforts to address this grave problem. Jennifer Green, cleared as a suspect, faced significant personal and professional challenges after the scandal. The public knowledge of her affair with David had a profound impact on her life. She took a leave of absence from her job and eventually relocated from Boca Raton to begin a new chapter away from the turmoil. Despite the support from former colleagues and friends, Jennifer Green's reputation was deeply affected by the affair and its connection to the case. The trial of David Herskowitz had a profound impact on Boca Raton, underscoring the dangers of concealed criminal activities and the crucial role of community vigilance in uncovering and addressing such issues. Claire Herskowitz's bravery in exposing David's crimes led to his arrest and conviction, but the case's impact lingered across many lives. Over time, the Boca Raton community focused on healing and honoring Claire's legacy. Her story became a symbol of courage and the relentless pursuit of justice, serving as a poignant reminder of the enduring strength of the human spirit and the ongoing battle against injustice. The tragic story of Claire Herskowitz serves as a powerful reminder of the dangers of hidden lives and the devastating impact of secrets. Join us next time on Truthful Crime as we delve into more stories of crime and justice. Thank you for listening.